I'm Terry-Ann, and stunning, beautiful, cozy properties are my thing. I'm a mom. I am a real estate enthusiast. I grew up in Kitale, which is in Trans Nzoia County, a beautiful, beautiful town. Okay, it used to be beautiful then, but I believe we'll get there soon. I love showcasing property, first because I really appreciate a beautiful home. So whether it's a bungalow, an apartment, a studio apartment, a mansion, I really appreciate the beauty and the sophistication and the luxury that comes with homes. But I also really am passionate about home ownership. There's so much more affordable property now compared to, let's say, when I started working about over 15 years ago.
I was born and raised until some age in the slums of Kawangware. I can say I'm a ghetto child. Having grown in the slums, probably that's how I ended up in real estate. Affordable housing is very passionate to me for that particular reason. I believe every person should live in a decent, dignified housing, irrespective of income. For me, livability means outside of my house, do we have open spaces? I can go out and bask in the sun. Do we have green spaces, or is it just a concrete jungle? And what lifestyle amenities are there? I'm breathing air. I'm breathing some fresh air.
That must be Terry-Ann.
Hello?
Terry-Ann, come on up.
Oh, great, thank you.
All right. Terry-Ann, hey.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Gosh, I love the place.
My name is Krupa. I think for me it's being able to deliver what the market wants. I think as a developer we're versatile enough to recognize that market trends change, and we like to keep ahead of the curve. And really it's the satisfaction of knowing that we're building quality, but we're also building to the needs of the market. .237 Garden City is the newest baby on the block within the Garden City precinct. It was always in the plan as far as the larger Garden City precinct development was concerned. It fits in very well with the rest of the developments that we have on site, and ideally what we're trying to have is a price point for everybody if they're coming to buy within the Garden City precinct. So whether it's high-end, middle income or affordable, there's something for everyone.
Does the number 237 have any significance?
The project sits on a 2.37 acre parcel of land, hence the name 237. In terms of the quality of the construction, buyers can rest assured that the level of quality that we deliver is always a notch higher than the price point that they're paying for their unit. We were able to achieve that from optimization of the structure, from value engineering the product to a point where we know we're giving you what we like to call value.
What really stands out for me about 237 and why I'm so passionate about it is the pricing. It's an affordable property. We almost have absolutely no excuse anymore for us to have our first home or our first investment in real estate.
We've seen a phenomenal response in the market to 237. In fact, we launched phase 1 last year in November. We're already 80% sold. It's obviously prompted us to now launch the second phase. What we're building is studio, 1-bed and 2-bedroom apartments with price ranges from 2.1 million for a studio, 4 million for a 1-bed, and then going up to about 6.3 million shillings for a 2-bed apartment.
2.1 million. Wow, that's incredible. Let's say I'm interested in taking a 2.1, a studio apartment. From a financing perspective, what would that mean? How much would I have to start thinking of putting aside? Are there any payment plans? How many years?
We've got a number of payment plans available, and we've tried to make them as friendly as possible, depending on whether you're an investor or a homeowner. Ideally speaking, if you're buying a unit for say 2.1 million and you want to pay over the construction period, you'd be looking at putting down about a 30% deposit on the unit, so you're looking at about 600,000 shillings odd. And then after that, you can either pay monthly or quarterly over the 24-month construction period. What we've seen a lot of uptake on in the market is a 5-year payment plan that we have introduced. You pay a 20% deposit, which is 400,000 shillings. You then pay 40,000 shillings monthly over 5 years towards the price of your unit. The beauty about this setup is that once the development is complete, we'll actually hand over the house to you. So if you want to rent it out, collect the rent and then offset the rent towards your repayment, you're more than welcome to do that.
And what amenities are also available for them?
We're quite big on amenities. Everybody who's building now is building concrete jungles, and we're actually trying to move away from that narrative. So because what we see in 237 is a very young, vibrant sort of tenancy and crowd living there, we've sort of prescribed amenities, for them. So you've got breakout areas, barbecue areas, a swimming pool, a gym, and pockets of green spaces more than anything else. And ideally what we're trying to have is a price point for everybody if they're coming to buy within the Garden City precinct. So whether it's high-end, middle income or affordable, there's something for everyone. The development is so close to the mall, that it's sort of, you're living the true essence of Garden City, which is the live, work, play. You're living in an area where, connectivity is easy, so you're getting to work very easily. Play is where the mall sort of comes in, you want to do your shopping, it's a 5-minute walk, even less than. We've got one of the best IMAXs in East Africa. You've got kids' play areas. You've got restaurants.
So one of the issues that has always been raised about real estate is sometimes, and it's not been much, but it is there, where a project is not complete on time, or there are trust issues around the developer. What assurances, do you have for those who would be looking to buy into 237?
One of our promises to our clients is on time means on time. And that's what we like to stick by with every development that we do.
So if you were to speak to somebody who, is in their first job, second job, has an income of maybe between 50K to 150 thereabout, what would you tell them?
For as long as you don't own a house, you're homeless. So renting is not necessarily owning a home. I think there's people generally in Nairobi like to rent. But when you put the numbers together, Terry-Ann, you've been paying all this rent over a period of time, and it's really wasted money because you're not paying it towards owning something. So, for somebody in their first job, we're saying to them, look, put aside 40,000 a month. It's all you need over 5 years to own your own home. And I think owning a home is such a big step financially for an individual. Within 5 years, you have a roof over your head, you're no longer paying rent. You're then using that as a platform to either buy your second home, buy another home, or you're using that money towards an investment for the long term. And this is the same for mortgages, really. You tighten your belt in the beginning when you're buying a house and you're taking a mortgage. But the minute you finish paying that off, there's almost a relief of, I've got X amount of extra money on a monthly basis that I was used to paying something, and I have it now to do the next big thing in my life.
Sam, how would you describe, Kenya's property sector currently?
I would probably rank Kenyan market a top 4 in Africa. And interestingly, in some aspects, it does find some ranking globally. I was just reading a report that ranks Nairobi 10th in prime residential from a price perspective globally. Nairobi is just the only African city in the 46 cities ranked by Night Rank in this case. We have both extremes, the good and the ugly. But on the good side, yes, if you're thinking about investing in Africa from a real estate perspective, Kenya is certainly one of the 4 locations you would definitely consider. On the flip side, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, it's just Nairobi, isn't it? It's when you speak Kenyan real estate primarily, you're speaking about Nairobi. The gap between Nairobi and the second city, Mombasa, and of course the other cities, is quite significant. But the Kenyan, real estate generally has still some growth steps to make from a maturity and attractiveness perspective.
From a global perspective, what's in it for me as an investor?
It means a number of things. One, and not surprisingly, Nairobi is a very attractive location for foreign direct investments, which means relative to other African cities, it has a huge population of expatriates. It's also a well-known diplomatic center. So lots of NGOs, a lot of embassies, the UN agencies here. That simply means if I'm a real estate investor, I have a pool larger than our own local population, to invest in a property and get tenants that then drive my investment income. So from that perspective, yes, the more attractive it is, the more it's likely to attract not just property investors, but businesses. If you're attracting businesses, naturally then you're attracting population that has the purchasing power, foreign population that has the purchasing power. They have to live somewhere, they have to work somewhere, so that makes it a very, very attractive. But also I think, if I think a bit more locally, if I compare 20 years ago at the turn of the millennium and today, I think a Kenyan young person entering the job market today has more investment opportunities than what we had then, if we had any.
Absolutely.
That is. And there are more, I think real estate investors are availing to those potential buyers more investment opportunities and easier entry paths. I think the mortgage market is, of course, some way to go, but a bit more sophisticated than it would have been back then. And there's a lot of noise now around tenant purchase schemes, mortgages at below 10%. So I'm seeing opportunities not just for home ownership, but seeing real estate as an investment product that a career person should consider having in their portfolio. I'm seeing a lot of those opportunities now coming into play. Suppose if there is one thing I would change, if I look at my career life from when I began, I would probably spend a little bit more time with family as well. And I suppose when you come from the sort of backgrounds majority of us Kenyans come, when you now start working, there is a tendency to really hold on to a job and see, define your identity very much around it. It probably speaks to our own sort of backgrounds, but that can come at the compromise of work-life balance. Hasn't been the best, but as I grow older, I'm improving.
I think balance is one of the most elusive ideologies that we have, because sometimes you're balanced more on the work side, and then sometimes the balance falls in favor of family. So I think, having kids, especially when they're little, it's the quality over quantity. But I've managed to find a way to make it work, between work, school, home. I don't have to be a super mom or a perfect mom. I find a way to make it work.
I think I'm a village boy at heart, so it has to be far away from an urban center. Most likely somewhere in Murang'a County, surrounded by trees, surrounded by cows, surrounded by just greenery. I suspect it's going to be a very simple retirement home.
I'm a safari enthusiast. I think it would probably be a home in the Masai Mara, a small log cabin away from all the people, and in the middle of nowhere would be possibly my ideal home.
A place where I can plant my flowers, because I really, really love, greenery and flowers and trees, and also, a place where I can plant something. Put my green fingers into practice. If you haven't started your journey in real estate, there is absolutely no excuse. As you have had, Kenya is really on the map from an investment perspective, and that says something about what investors are seeing. So it's time to just begin your journey, start with what you have, start small, look around. There's so much availability of affordable property. Come have a look at 237 Garden City. There's so much that's going on. So I can't wait to hear from you on how you made your first investment decision in real estate. And then let's talk again sometime soon.